As a film producer, I help others to tell their stories and find their voice. But what I have learned is no matter what your path, we all have a moment where we must find our own voice. And finding your own voice boils down to the 4 C's. Incredible how life boils down to a good alliteration. It must be that way to help us commencement speakers. The first C stands for care. Okay, you already know in your hearts that a life lived in ignorance and apathy towards the world's problem is a wasted life. But I am talking about the kind of care that makes you dig deep into your hearts and souls. And for me, that moment was September 11th, 2001. I was downtown, right near the Twin Towers. I was just dropping my 7-year-old daughter, Juliana, at school that morning. And the only reason I didn't end up directly in front of the Trade Center was my car didn't speed through the yellow light. We came to a slow stop, just by chance. Many of you were perhaps too young to remember what New York was like after the terrorist attacks. Downtown became a ghost town. People were afraid to venture anywhere near the World Trade Center site. Businesses shut down, streets were empty. The spirit of New York City is our neighborhoods, and now mine was a shell of its former self. I became obsessed. What could I do? What could I do as a film producer to help my community? So I did what I know how to do best. I put on a show. As a kid growing up in Providence, Rhode Island, I fell in love with New York because of the movies. Now, all these years later, I believe that New York needed movies more than ever. The sense of community and hope that movies can bring. So Robert De Niro and I, along with my husband, Craig Hatkoff, decided to forge ahead because we cared. Of course, in came the skeptics. What are you doing? Do you have the money to start a film festival? It's a risk. You're crazy. These were the same comments I remember hearing years earlier when I left my life as a Hollywood studio executive and moved to New York to start an unnamed company in a place called Tribecca with some quirky macho actor who didn't like to speak. Okay, Robert De Niro had a few Oscars to his name. You're crazy, they all said to me back then. The movie business is in LA. Why are you moving to New York? It's going to be like falling off the face of the earth. In those early days of planning the first festival, I once again felt like Christopher Columbus setting sail on the world everyone insisted was flat. Okay, I really searched for a George Washington analogy here, and I couldn't find one. I'm sorry, George. Well, you know, I slept at Brown's Cottage last night. I read some of those books on the shelf. So hold on, let's go. Take 2. I think I've got something. In those early days of planning the first festival, I once again felt like George Washington setting out to defeat an army that most people thought were invincible. Thank you. So how will you deal with the naysayers in your lives? You have to care, our first C. Because it's only if you care deeply about the things that matter that you'll be brave enough to do what you know is right for you. Learn how to simply say, thank you for your opinion, next. It's my favorite 4-letter word. But if there is something in life that you know you truly care about, that you know you must try, a career, a relationship, a social issue, a movie, a film festival, learn how to say no is not an option. Okay, so here's the next C, cultivate. The definition of cultivate is to prepare the land for crops and gardening, to break up the soil in preparation for sowing the seeds of the future. You need to cultivate yourselves to grow the kind of life you want. One thing I've learned from planning the first festival and every one since was that every part of my previous life experience, my education, my travels, my professional successes and failures, my creative passions, my relationships, all of it contributed to getting the job done. Over and over again in your lives, you will be thrust into situations that you didn't explicitly prepare for. Here in the cocoon of academia, you have been studying, writing papers, taking exams, but most important, you've been thinking. And it's that capacity to think that will serve you well when you too feel at loss. While your path to and through Washington College has given you a breadth of knowledge and skills, cultivating wisdom is a lifelong pursuit. It comes from everything you do. Cultivate every part of yourself, your left brain, your right brain, your empathy, your sense of justice, your people skills, your hard skills, and your daydreaming skills, because each of these will serve you in unexpected ways along the journey. And even when you were cultivating them, you weren't exactly sure why or what they might lead to. Cultivate them. Next, connect. Okay, I'm telling a crowd of millennials, some of you secretly checking Facebook right now as I speak, I'm telling you how important it is to connect with others. But I'm talking about a different kind of connection. I'm talking about the kind of connection that George Washington wrote about when he said, "True friendship is a plant of slow growth." With our iPhones, we often forget the beauty and necessity of the original I connect. Eye contact is actually what I meant to say. Eye contact is very important. Enduring relationships withstand the test of time, like the close friends, confidants, and colleagues who so generously helped me start Tribecca. They don't simply happen by clicking like. They don't happen by tweeting a picture or subscribing to a news feed. Don't get me wrong, I love social medias and the wonder it works in building communities and offering a platform for collaboration. Thanks to social media and technology, it's never been easier for creative people to connect with each other, to find their audience, and to be recognized. In the time I've been speaking, 13 hours of music have been streamed from Pandora, 13,000 iPhone apps have been downloaded, 600 videos or 25 hours of content have been uploaded to YouTube. Don't let your smart devices be a substitute for life. Rapidly, our reality is changing. Make time for meandering conversations and true intimacy. It's only by connecting with others in the flesh that we figure out who we really are. It's only by unplugging that we truly connect with ourselves. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and tweet about it. The final C is for courage, and that's the one that ties it all together. C is for the moral courage to care, the intellectual courage to connect. Moral courage is the guiding philosophy of Washington College. Keep that courage close at hand. You will need it for the tests that lie ahead. You will need it as you confront choices and realities that may knock you from your comfort zones or challenge your deepest held beliefs. In closing, I want to wish every one of you the very, very best on your next adventures. I hope that you'll listen to your instinct, nurture your talents, and build lives of meaningful relationships. We cannot wait to hear the stories you'll share with the world. As George Washington was probably thinking as he rode across the Delaware, fighting the Hessians, summoning up all the courage against insurmountable odds. You only live once. Make it count. Congratulations.